Pick up a holiday brochure and the word Barbados is usually followed by tropical island paradise. Well, that's become a cliché. Just a few decades ago, Barbados was the reserve of the upper classes and wealthy elite. And even though most of the Caribbean no longer comes under the heading once in a lifetime, Barbados still offers a holiday experience that's a notch above some of its neighbours. It's also terribly British, thanks to over 300 years of colonisation. The liveliest tourist places like Rockley, Worthing and Accra Beach are all on the south coast, not far from St Lawrence Gap. Here there are a huge number of hotels and apartment buildings of varying quality. As in most of the Caribbean, the typical type of accommodation for holidaymakers is all-inclusive. Standards in hotels across the golden sand beaches of the west coast are high, and you can often expect thrown-in activities such as surfing lessons and lazy sails out into the Caribbean Sea for a spot of snorkeling. If you're lucky, you may even get to feed a turtle. Just 20 minutes of driving across the island will take you to the east coast, well worth a look. It's a favourite with independent travellers as the least developed area on the island with a rugged coastline that's pounded by the Atlantic. The results are pretty spectacular. The nearest thing Barbados has to a city is its capital, Bridgetown, but one of the first things you'll notice is how small it is. A morning is usually more than enough to take in the main sights, which include Broad Street for duty-free shopping, colourful markets and a handful of colonial buildings. For foodies, Bridgetown is also probably the best place to sample the local Bajan fare. This is primarily seafood. Snapper dorado and dolphin fish are some of the most popular. But it's flying fish that dominates the menus. Make sure you give it a try. Across the island, you'll see the sugar plantations, a legacy of the British colonial slave trade era. As you travel around, you'll see tiny chattel houses propped up on stone piles. The slaves who lived in them weren't allowed to own their own land. Plantation owners, on the other hand, lived in places like this, St Nicholas Abbey. It was built in 1650, which makes it not only the oldest of the great houses in Barbados, but also one of the 3 oldest houses in the whole of the Americas. Right in the middle of the island, there's a complex of limestone caves with underground streams, caverns and waterfalls. This is the most popular attraction on Barbados. Harrison's Cave was written about in 1796 by an English doctor called George Pinkard. But it went largely unexplored until around 40 years ago, when the full, spectacular extent of the cave system was recognised. Kids and geology buffs alike get a real kick out of the fun visitor experience on offer here. Barbados is hitting the new decade looking as attractive a holiday proposition as it ever was. The beaches, hotels and attractions still pull in the punters, but it's the locals that continue to get the nod as the island's best feature. So if you haven't already, perhaps now's the time to see it for yourself.